Lisa's in the house. Here we go. Can you
Good
hear me?
morning.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, great. So,
Welcome.
hey, thank you. I made it.
Yeah. What you got for me?
So, I am wondering, I feel like I've kind of reverted from an anxious attachment to a possible dismissive avoidant. And
You've become, wait, let me be clear. You've switched from an anxious to an
I,
avoidance. That would,
yes, I kind of feel like I'm moving in that direction.
okay.
Just because I've experienced so much hurt and loss over the last 5 years. Just a little background: my father passed away, and I had a major medical issue going on. I had to go into the hospital for a couple of weeks, and then I had to go into rehab and kind of rebuild my life again, learn to walk, and my motor functions were all screwed up. I had a syndrome. It's called Guillain-Barré syndrome that I struggled with.
Okay.
And then I was also going through a divorce at the same time of 20 years.
Okay.
And
How long ago, Lisa, how long ago was this again?
this was about 5 years ago.
Okay. Okay. Just to get some context. Okay.
So everything kind of like, I mean, in that short of time, there was huge loss for me. And I had started my road to recovery after my divorce, and I was feeling good physically, and I had met somebody that
Okay.
I started dating, and we were together for about 1.5 years, and he was very a dismissive avoidant. Now, I had
Okay.
come from my marriage, who he was the same way. My husband was the same way.
Now, just
And
so I'm clear, and can you describe what that means to you or what it looked like in this relationship that he was dismissive avoidant? Could you?
yes. So when I wanted to be close to him or have conversation or engage in an emotional conversation with them, they would shut me down. They would just pull back, feel uncomfortable, wouldn't have time. Um, they would just dismiss what I was trying to express to them.
Okay.
And
Okay.
so that's how it felt. Like I was never validated. My feelings were never validated. I would reach out and ask, hey, I need this from you. I need more love and affection, or I need, some more emotional connection, more time, more quality time, or whatnot. And then they could never fulfill that. And I
And just
always
out of
was,
curiosity, how far apart did the two of you live?
we were within 5 minutes. He was
Okay.
in the,
So,
he was close.
and did you get together on a regular basis?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I just want to understand because if you'd told me this was a 3,000-mile relationship and you saw each other once a year, there's
No.
different elements. Okay.
No,
Okay.
we were with each other a lot.
Okay.
His love language was acts of service, which was great.
Okay.
And he would help me and that sort of thing. And then, we would spend a lot of time together doing activities and such. So
Why did the relationship end?
I don't know. He never gave me that answer.
Okay.
I think that he,
Do me a
I'm
favor.
sorry.
Try to put your phone down so it just stays there. Okay. Perfect.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I have it on something propped up, and it dropped.
Okay.
But he never expressed why he ended the relationship. And it was very hurtful for me because
Yeah.
I didn't know why. And all of a sudden he's in my life, and shabam, he's gone.
Okay.
So
And for a moment, try to describe a couple feelings over that. Not thoughts, feelings.
sadness,
Okay.
pain,
Yeah.
a lot of pain,
Okay.
a lot of hurt.
Did you
I
two have a conscious uncoupling? Was it a text message? How did it
No,
actually
it
end?
was a text message uh breakup. That was the other
Wow. And you
that
were
was the
together
other
for over a year?
yeah, year and a half.
Year and a
Yeah.
half. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
That was fucked up. I'm sorry.
yeah.
That was.
No, that's pretty fucked up, especially if
Yeah.
you live 5 minutes away. If it was three, plane ride away, that's a different story. Um,
Yeah.
and I'm sorry, I'm not laughing and I see you laughing, but it's like that is pretty fucked up. So, I don't think you want to unpack that, but if you ever did want to unpack that, I can give you some insight as to why that most likely happened from his vantage point. One of the things I do for clients, I call it get inside a guy's head, where I take my head, I put it on his body, and I do the talking for you based on what he was experiencing. So,
Oh, okay.
and you
That's
fill out a questionnaire for that
okay. Thank you.
if you ever want to unpack that. Okay, so now so we started this conversation with, I used to be anxious. I think I'm avoidant. That was kind of how this got
Yes.
started, right?
Yes.
So were you anxious in your marriage and with this relationship?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I wasn't getting my needs met. I would keep asking these my husband and my boyfriend to meet me where I was, would reach out and say, I am feeling disconnected from you. I would like to be closer and share more emotional connection through, speaking to each other about our feelings and such.
Yeah.
And it just, it was talking to a wall. I mean,
Yeah.
they just could not meet me there. And I was asking the wrong person, obviously, the entire time. So I guess my question for you is, so it's been a number of years and I've taken some time to work on myself.
Okay.
I definitely feel like I still have more work to do.
Okay.
And I've gone from, I feel like I'm kind of transitioning from, the anxious attachment style to kind of an avoidant, only because when I go on dates,
Okay.
I I'm just not feeling it with these people. And I don't feel a connection with them. And it's like, I'm
So,
wondering why.
okay. So, and we're going to unpack that. This is going to be a fun conversation in a couple minutes. But why do you associate that with avoidant?
Um, oh, that's a good question. I guess because I feel like I have a wall up. I still have some pain, and
Okay.
I possibly am afraid to get close to someone.
Okay, great. That's a very intuitive response. And for everybody who's watching, I want you to recognize that what she did was she looked, by the way, I'm talking to everyone right now, Lisa, but what Lisa did is she looked inward and really reflected upon it from a very conscious place. So I have a number of thoughts in this area. Okay. So we're going to do a little bit of playing here. Okay. Is that okay with you?
Sure.
Okay. So here's the thing. Okay, I talk about attachment style. I always pull up books. We talk about attachment style. And to some degree, this is in my vantage point. This isn't science like, you can check a box and know exactly what's going on. Just so you know, okay? This is a lot of field study. It's not really done in real time. My meaning, nobody's looking at your vantage point in this moment. No researcher is studying these things like what's happening to you right now. It's all based on a precept that happened from childhood and how we operate in adult life. Okay. For the most part, they're not actually looking at what happens to us in midlife after ending of relationship, ending of relationship, ending of relationship, ending of a relationship. Does that make sense?
Yes, and I'm listening to you. My phone's getting low, so I'm searching for my phone charger. So just
Okay,
keep
I'll
talking.
keep talking while you're looking for your phone charger. Okay, so folks, what I was saying to Lisa is that, it isn't an exact science. Now, the way I interpret the way we attach to love is that most likely we have a default of a fear of abandonment or a fear of rejection. And for some people, that fear of abandonment is radically strong, and the fear of rejection is radically strong for some people. For some people, it's kind of light, LITE, light. Okay. And so, but if you have a strong, like for me, I'm very aware I have an anxious attachment style. When someone doesn't return a text right away, I'm like, what the fuck did I do wrong? Did I make them upset? And this is true with friends. This is true with family members. It doesn't matter. I have a default that there's something wrong with me. It's a default. Now, in relationship, I've learned over a period of time to trust that it isn't about me. And this is something I have to be very present to when, I'm connecting with another human being. But it still pops up. So in other words, anxious is my default. However, if I'm with another anxious person, I can start becoming avoidant. Meaning, but what's really happening is they're giving too much love and I'm having a hard time receiving love. And so to the extent that we put these labels on it, I think I want to dismantle all the labels. I don't think it's like all of a sudden you went from anxious to avoidant. I think what's really going on for you, Lisa, is you've been hurt. Okay. You've been hurt more than once. It's caused you to be like, I'm not sure I want to be vulnerable with somebody. You've got to kind of earn it. Okay. Now, part of the problem, Lisa, is our current dating environment is so fucking dysfunctional that no wonder you're operating this way. We hyper focus on entertainment, romance, and physical connection without ever really building the emotional connection.
Yeah.
The deep roots of trust. We rarely spend time in that area because we're all amped up on, testosterone and estrogen and oxytocin and dopamine and, serotonin, all of this chemical cocktail. And we bond with someone physically before we've ever built real trust, ever really built a true friendship with someone. So now, I know this sounds like, well, Jonathan, then where's the hope in all this? Okay. Well, the hope is to get really attuned to who you are and what you really want. So you said something a moment ago, and I want to dive into this. You're going out on dates and you're not feeling it. You're not feeling it. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That could be a reflection of your wall. I'm going to be candid with you, Lisa. I've gone on dates with women and they're sitting right across me from the table. And I can literally visually see every man that's ever hurt them standing right behind them. Now, they're not literally there. I mean this figuratively speaking, but the way they communicate, it's literally present. Now, I'm not suggesting that of you, okay? But energetically, you openly admitted you have walls up. So the minute you have a wall up, you're going to be blocked from connecting with someone. And I want to come back to this book, If the Buddha Dated. I highly recommend reading this book. I love this book because it's about dating from your heart, not from the pretense that a man must climb to the highest room of the tallest tower to prove his worth by planning and paying for dates and doing all these things to romance you. It's about learning how to date from a heart-centered place. How can we connect with someone's heart? That's the invitation on all this. How can we really have authentic, real communication? And you know where real communication comes from? It's not all of our successes. It's our fears. It's our insecurities. It's our negative patterns. It's our limiting beliefs.
Yeah.
Now, I want to share something with you. The sad reality is most human beings, even your closest friends, I'm not suggesting this of you, but just in general, we don't really connect at a real, true heart-centered level, okay? Women, tend to be more emotional communicators with their friends, but men are rarely emotional communicators. So let me just tell you this. Most men aren't really good at communicating their thoughts, their feelings, their emotions in a way that can be seen, heard, and understood. Okay. We do it through our physical actions, or it's the acts of service through physical connection. That's where men primarily operate from, but that's not all men. Okay. I'm a prime example of that. I'm just riddled with I'm all about my feelings, almost to an excess. Okay.
Yeah.
Really quickly, Julie says, I like this conversation. I relate to Lisa. Great questions. So, but now the question is, how are you going to shift? What are you going to do to shift going forward? Okay.
Okay. Now, yes, let me just give you a little more information, because I would like to shift. However, I made a decision after about a year and a half, 2 years of not seeing this person, not talking to this person, and I reached out to this person. I decided, you know what, I was going on dates and not having a connection with anybody. And to be honest with you, I want to have sex. Sex. So I'm like, okay, we had a good sex life. And I thought, maybe I'll just reach out to him. I'm going to not get connected to him, and I'm just going to have a
friend with benefits. Okay.
So that's kind of where we are right now.
Okay.
We're friends with benefits, but I know I want more than that. And I know he's not my man.
Okay.
And I know that this is just a temporary thing. So
temporary as in 20 years, 10 years, 5 years? Like, how temporary?
No, like I'm talking months. This is just a recent thing that we've reconnected.
By the way, on most women's epitaph, on the grave, it says, I only was going to do friends with benefits for a month for a couple months, but it lingered for 5 years, and I wasted all my good years with the wrong guy and never let the right guy in.
I don't want to be one of those. I do not want to be one of those.
Yeah, but you know what? You're like, this is where you have to, I'm going to be candid with you. It's hard to draw a line in the sand, because then you're going to say, well, let's just take a break from all this. And then you're going to come back and do it again. You're going to take a break from all this and do it again. I mean, this is what typically happens. I'm just calling you out on it.
I don't know. This is the first time.
By the way, there's nothing wrong with doing this.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with doing this. Believe me. I have had plenty of friends with benefits in my lifetime. I'll own that. Okay. Not plenty, a few. And so we shouldn't judge. Like, I hope you're not judging yourself or anything like that. I doubt you are.
No.
But ultimately, I invite you to get really crystal clear on what do you want. I mean, you still have 20, 25, 30 good years left in you, You're in a beautiful, attractive woman. I want you to still take advantage of all that with the right guy, instead of waiting till you're 75 to meet a guy.
Right. Yeah. And I agree. And that's what this is why I'm reaching out, is because I feel like I'm not on the right path for myself, and I'm aware of it, and I'm okay with that right now, but I'm ready to let go and move forward.
Okay, couple things. First off, everybody who is watching this right now, I want you to post a comment, either in the chat box or in the comment section. What do you think Lisa should do? Okay, is that okay, Lisa? We're going to see what the audience survey says, blah, 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 blah. So if anybody says anything, and I'm going to share with you my perspective.
I can tell you what they're going to say. They're going to say, text message him and say we're done. Yeah.
And by the way, and I'm not going to suggest that, okay? First off, folks, I will tell you, our physical need to want to connect with people is a very valid need. There's no judgment around that. There's nothing wrong with doing that. But, let's see what people say regarding this. So, Tasha says what she feels is best for her. I appreciate that. Exactly. So here's my suggestion. First off, coming back to the original question, I was anxious. Am I an avoidant now?
Yeah.
I don't think you've just automatically switched. I think your default is probably always going to be anxious, but there are circumstances when we are with somebody who is more anxious than us, it can cause us to withdraw. Now, that's not what was happening because you never got deep enough with someone to determine you were avoidant. Okay, so just so you know, unless you dated someone for a few months after this last relationship, you really can't tell. And the strongest characteristic in my mind of an avoidant centers around the inability to open up their heart when somebody else is opening up their heart. You weren't experiencing that. You just have garden variety walls up. Garden variety walls up for understandable reasons. Most of the time you're meeting a stranger, right?
Yes.
Okay. If you weren't meeting a stranger, somebody that you felt some level of know, like, or trust, you probably would open up. So I don't think that's what's going on for you. I think you're just experiencing garden variety. Hey, I don't know you. I don't trust you. I'm not going to open my heart to you. Okay. Now, how do we get there? I'm a big proponent of personal development, self-help, spiritual work, and therapy to unpack the things that's in our lives. I invite you to do the grief letter exercise that we talked about in this video and previous videos that I've talked about, is do a grief letter exercise, particularly with your marriage and this, this guy is still in your life, but you may want to explore the nooks and crannies of the pain that you experienced when he ended the relationship. There was a deep pain. And to some degree, wait, but he ended it with a text.
Yeah.
Okay. What have you guys talked about that?
No, because I tried to reach out to him at the time and asked him, about it. And he just could never give me a valid, good reason. It was,
well, then you know what? Before his penis ever goes inside your vagina again, he needs an explanation, okay? And by the way, I'm going to tell you why. Okay, there's a value in doing this. Look, you can, look, it actually creates the door to intimacy. It actually, I'm not suggesting this friends with benefits is automatically going to turn into a relationship, but what you can happen is you can crack open the intimacy door to really getting into, look, you know what? Please forgive my language. I want to fuck you again, but we're going to have a conversation about something. And I want to understand from you what the fuck was really going on that you sent a text message to me, because that was fucking cruel. And I want to have sex with you, but we're going to do it. We're going to have a little nitty gritty conversation. If nothing else, you will take this experience and grow and learn from it. And look at men are now, will he be honest with you? Hard to say. Will he be in integrity with himself? It'll be hard to say, but that's what I would invite you to do. And as far as healing going forward, healing is not a linear path. Okay. We talked about that previously. You experienced pain in your life, and I'm sure you've experienced other pain in your life that caused you to be walled up. The way to get to your heart with another human being is to lead by example, to lead with your vulnerability. It really hurt. I was in pain when you ended the relationship. It really hurt. And I need you to fucking sit in the fire right now and listen to this if you want my fucking vagina. Now, please forgive my overtly language and with expletives, but I'm trying to illustrate a point. Okay.
Yes.
And you know what? He'll probably do it because guys are horny enough to sit in the fire, So that's my invitation for you. And I'd love to bring you back in a month or so and hear what happens. I mean, what are your thoughts on what I just shared?
No, I love it. I'm totally open to it. And I have thought about doing that. I have not done it yet. So yeah, I can give it a shot. Sure, why not? I got nothing to lose. I'm not investing in him. So yeah.
That's my invitation for you. And if nothing else, you're practicing heart-centered communication. You're practicing heart-centered communication from a
Yeah.
very raw, vulnerable place. This really hurt. And you know what? I would really like to unpack this, and I need your courage. I need you to be a man and step into the fire and say, hey, let's have a real conversation about this. I'm not going to let you chicken out like a fucking pussy. Now,
Right.
by the way, this is what I would say to him. I mean, if you want, I can get on the phone with him. We can have a real deep dive. Before you get my woman, my little sister, you got to jump through some hoops right now.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. I can do this. I can do that.
Okay. All right, my dear. Well, I hope we spent the last 20 minutes unpacking this. I hope this had value for you.
It did. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
All right. Can I give you a big, gigantic Jonathan Bear hug?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay.
Same back.
All right. Thank you so much, Lisa. Be well. Lisa was brave to be on here today, sharing something very personal that's going to be clipped and sent out again. So, she talked about going from an anxious to avoidant. I don't believe that's what was happening, but that was a great question. And as she examined that for herself, she recognized that she has legitimate walls up. It's scary putting ourselves out there to be vulnerable to another human being. And as she shared with us this friends with benefits situation, it's kind of interesting. I think she has to put him under the microscope, and say, hey, before you get my vagina again, you're going to have to jump through some hoops. Are you willing? And by the way, I wish I could get on the phone with him to have that conversation, because I think it'd be rather fun. Folks, did you find value in this conversation? I hope you did. In fact, if you did, I'd love for you to donate to the Connor Asley Scholarship Fund. Hit that super sticker, that super chat in the chat box, or super thanks in the replay. If you found value in this or if you have something to share, post a comment below. I do my best to read them all in the first 24 hours. As always, if you find value in my videos, please hit that like button. Please share this video. Please subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell so you can be notified of new videos. And if you want to connect with me directly, if you want me to get inside a guy's head, click the links below to schedule a discovery call with me to see if working with a coach is right for you. Hit that link to join my group called Midlife Love Mastery. You can get all the books I recommend all listed below. All right, I'm going to wrap up this video as I always do. First off, give myself a big, gigantic Jonathan Bear hug of self-love. I'm going to reach into the camera and give you a hug of love if that's okay. I'm going to ask you to turn to someone, a pet, a teddy bear, a pillow, and give it or them a hug of love, because hugs are a great source of love. And let's face it, we could all use more love in our lives. I want to thank Lisa, who is on. I also want to thank Karen for the super sticker that she donated to us. Thank you so much. I want to thank Pauline and Lady Satya, and Julie and Melissa and Jen and everybody who was on live. Thanks so much. Wishing you all a super duper wonderful, fantastic day. Be well. Thanks. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.